Martin from the Philippines. We're here in Real Talk Lifeline. So, welcome to Podcast Meditations, and we're here with The Way of the Superior Man. We're on episode 17, and in this episode, we will be talking about your dark side. So, you're in for a ride, guys. Let me share my screen, and we're going to go through the best lessons of this part of the way of the superior man. So just let me get this set up. Let me zoom in for all you guys on video over here. I'm going to go full screen just so you see it a little bit better over here. All right. Okay, so let's begin. I'm going to guide you. Let me zoom out just a bit so I'm not blocking over here. Okay, so you guys see it better. Part 5, your dark side. You are always searching for freedom. This could occur when facing death and living through it, succeeding in and thus being released from your purpose, and in competition, which is ritual threat of death. So, this is the meaning of freedom in the way of the superior man. The masculine is always seeking release from constraint into freedom. The feminine often doesn't understand these masculine ways and needs. So, very interesting lesson over here, just the masculine versus the feminine on the topic of freedom. The next line says, the typical masculine desire for freedom involves the feeling of death, which is the ultimate masculine fear and freedom in one way or another. So, this line helps me understand the dark side or the shadow that many men or in the masculine we have a fear of facing, right? And that desire for freedom, freeing ourselves from the feeling of death. Next line. The capacity to face death is the ultimate masculine act, evoking men's deepest emotions. So this one's already hitting me. Next line. The same capacity to face death is necessary for spiritual freedom. So, what should we do? Dedicate yourself to its highest form, transcendence of the fear of death. So, this might sound very heavy or deep, but this can also be practiced in little ways throughout the day. So, I'll give a sharing on that towards the end, but the gist of it is it's January 11. It's 1:30 or it's past 1 a.m. already here on a Saturday, 2025. I did my first ice bath of the year and it was hard. I haven't done it in a while. And at some point, sometimes for us, to face fear is like facing death. Might not be literal, but you either feel it, it's in your mind, and you have like a life changing decision in the moment. And I experienced that just a few hours ago. So the next line, the feminine, on the other hand, is not seeking freedom, but love. A woman's bliss is not in emptiness, but in fullness. In the end, the feminine search for love and the masculine search for freedom reach the same destination, which is both absolute love and freedom. So let's go to the next chapter of our dark side. Own your darkest desires. He will not be able to face the unknown and still function from his heart in love. So I put this line, this hit me because If we do not own our darkest desires, our shadow, our dark side, then it will always be unknown. And we will always be living in fear and doubt, in not being able to face it. And it will be near impossible to function in love because there will always be that fear, that unknown, until we face it. Next line. Allowing the force of love itself to draw you beyond the need for control and fearful grasping. So this is very familiar. It's like the ego, right? The need to control, fearful grasping, holding on, control freak, right? So allowing love to draw us beyond that. Next line. You will cultivate your capacity to die into love with no need to hold on to yourself. So this is something I'm learning and going through experiences when I started going into seminars and then more into alternative stuff, practices like the ice bath. So there's this term called an ego death. A part of ourself, our mind, the fears, right, the ego thoughts, our feelings has to die. So there's this line I remember, pain. Pain is just the sound of your weaker self dying, right? So it's that feeling, it's just making way for your higher self, your stronger self. Next line. Over time, you will discover a naturally enhanced capacity to yield into spiritual death rather than gripping onto yourself. But to let go takes guts. Again, this line is hitting me. So I just did an ice bath a few hours ago, first of the year. It's been a while since I've done one. I think maybe more than a month already. So it took a lot of guts. I literally priming going into a swimming pool. This was at night around 8 9 p.m. I was already freezing. I didn't want to go in. This is the swimming pool, not yet the ice bath. I finally have the guts to like go through my first death. I go inside the swimming pool, like from my knees down fully. My body starts shaking. So I stall there longer. When I go out of the ice bath, two people already have gone in it. And I freeze again. So there were so many layers of letting go, guts, deaths, before I finally made that life changing split decision. Am I going to go in or can I live with myself if I don't? So I went through this just a few hours ago. So last chapter over here on our dark side, she wants the killer in you. What does this mean? Right? This might sound like criminal or crazy, right? But let us explore this. I'll explain. The capacity to transcend the fear of death for the sake of love is a quintessential form of the ultimate masculine gift. Although your woman doesn't want you to be a killer, literally, she is turned on by your capacity to kill, and she is turned off by your lack of this capacity. So, this may come in the form of learning a martial art. Uh, for me, I learned how to handle guns. And even before that, in a very small way, it might just be lifting weights, like your ability to just get strong, defend yourself, and have the capacity to defend another person's life. Next line. She wants to feel your capacity to face her closure, anger, and tension without trying to minimize her feminine force. She wants to feel your persistence and loving so that her fury cannot turn you away, unafraid of her dark energy, but because it is a sign of your overall capacity to face and know death, your own and others. It is this capacity that makes you trustable. So let me stop my screen sharing. So that's the best lessons for this episode. We are learning about our dark side. And again, as I shared, there are many practical ways to practice this. You could join us if ever you do want to try an ice bath, you want to get into shadow work, tapping into the dark side in a healthy and responsible way. Thank you. I love you. And I will see you next time.